With that said, I want to separate my remarks in the record for just a second and make note of the announcement by the White House today, or the Department of Defense, on the dramatic cuts of our military. 40,000 people over the next 2 years. Mr. President, I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but I'm really angry. I'm really mad. I know it's ironic to me, and it's one of the reasons I'd put a hold today on an appointment, but it's ironic on the day we all learn by reading the newspaper, not by being advised by the Department of Defense. We all learned that we're going to lose 40,000 soldiers over the next 2 years. Georgia's going to lose 4,390 soldiers over the next 2 years. Nobody did the courtesy of calling us, but on the day when they didn't call us, they also send up for confirmation a legislative affairs official for the United States Department of Defense and Administration. I've got a hold on that person for one simple reason. I want to meet with them and see to it that if they in fact do get in control of congressional liaison and congressional affairs, that they make sure we're the first to find out, not the last to find out. Our military is critically important to my state as it is to your state. It's important that we know what the government's plans are, and it's important that we have a chance to have a say. I know the president doesn't like to use the legislative body very much. He's rather regulate and do executive orders. But when you talk about our military and you talk about the investment in our military, every member of the Senate, every member of the House, all of us ought to be together with all our oars in the water, rowing in the same direction, not in misdirection. And I want to make one note here. It's also ironic that last week, the president for the first time went to the Pentagon to talk about the strategy in the Middle East, particularly with regard to ISIL. It took 18 months to go talk about a situation that's grown from being an irritant to a crisis. When we left Iraq and left all the equipment that we had there and left the Iraqis to fend for themselves, we created a vacuum. And what happened? In came ISIL. And now they're in 16 countries in the Levant and in the Middle East right now. We created a vacuum that they filled and are continuing to fill. And we're talking about reducing our manpower over the next 2 years to a point that we no longer can confront an enemy on two fronts. We're going to have a tough time doing it on one. A vulnerable and a weak American defense and military allows and encourages people who might have nefarious goals and dreams to take advantage of America's weakness. We should be very careful about diminishing our resources and our military to levels that are not in the best interest of the American people or their security. And I want to ask the administration to be sure and give us information in advance rather than after the fact. Include us wherever possible in the decision, and see to it that the Congress once again is a partner with the Commander-in-Chief to see to it we confront our enemies and have the manpower and the troops to do it. I, for one, have thought for a long time we should be doing more to confront ISIL in the Middle East. I think that's being borne out every day. Hopefully the president's coming to that realization as well. But whatever we do, we should not be telling the world we've got problems, but we're going to cut some more. It's time we made an investment in the security and the peace of our country, in our military, and it's time we work together, President and Congress alike, to do what's right for America, its defense and its freedom and its liberty, which we just celebrated over the past weekend on July the 4th. Mr. President, I yield back the balance of my time and defer to the senator from